Hi Leute und willkommen zurück zu einer neuen Folge. Und wahrscheinlich habt ihr es im Hintergrund gemerkt, da kommen immer irgendwelche Geräusche. Das tut mir so leid. Ich versuche schon, es so zu machen, dass ihr nichts hören tut, aber wenn ihr da mal was hört, versucht es zu ignorieren, okay? Auf jeden Fall, wir waren bei unserem Großvaters Beerdigung und unser Vater hat uns geschlagen. Super. Und hier starten wir auch jetzt auch wieder. I quickly turn and run up the stairs to my room, slamming the door behind me. My breath came in short pants, and for a while I just leaned against the door to my bedroom, eventually sliding down to sit against it. How did things become like this? My cheeks still throbbed, and I tentatively stood up and looked at the mirror to see how it looked. Hopefully it doesn't bruise. What am I saying? Tears throbbed in the corner of my eyes, but I blinked them back rapidly. I couldn't cry twice on the same day. I had to be stronger than that.
Are you all right? Your father told me nothing happened, but you know your father.
Okay, ich sag's nochmal. Ich habe schon eben gesagt, Vater ist ein Arschloch. I'm fine. I just lost my appetite.
The lasagna's done, though, and I don't want you skipping any meals. Are you sure?
Yeah, don't worry about me, Mom. I come downstairs later to eat.
You're not telling me the whole story.
I just don't want to eat right now.
Please, dear. Tell me what's going on. I wish you would tell me why you're being like this.
I wanted to tell her. A part of me was screaming to tell her what Dad had done. At the same time, I knew she couldn't fix anything. Besides, I was moving out regardless. I remained silent, letting the event remain in the past.
Well, I'll leave your food on the table if you want to eat it later.
Finally, my mom left me alone. It was strange to think that she was only a few inches away from me, only separated by a single wooden door. I really didn't know what to do. I needed to do something, anything, to get my mind off what just happened. Anything would be better than thinking anymore about the pain still radiating from my cheek. I was going to move into my grandfather's house tomorrow. I should probably pack my stuff so I would be prepared for tomorrow. Yeah, that was a good idea. I should start packing. I opened the closet, remaining around for a while before I finally found two large bags. Pulling them out into the floor of my room, I then began to empty my drawers and cabinets so that I could bring all my things with me. I didn't have much to bring other than just clothes and some toiletries. It was kind of bizarre that I didn't have many personal belongings. It wasn't like my luggage was completely devoid of them, but I certainly didn't have many things in my room that I would miss if I just suddenly left the house. I shook my head to rid myself of those thoughts. If it was going to be my new home, it would have to feel like it, one way or another. I was going to make it into a home. Oh! Okay, just as I was packing my things, my cell phone began ringing and vibrating in my pocket. I slipped my phone out of my pocket and answered it while settling myself onto my bed. Who could possibly be calling? Naomi and Suzu?
Hey Anderson, you there? Is everything alright? We were worried about you, so we decided to call. Hello?
I'm really glad you guys called. My voice managed to come out, though it was only a whisper.
What happened? Are you okay?
Well, I slowly began to tell her about the funeral that afternoon. A small silence followed when I was done recounting what happened, and to my relief, Naomi finally spoke up.
I can't begin to imagine how you must be feeling right now. I'm so sorry. Do you want us to come over right now?
No, it's okay. My dad isn't in a good mood, so can we just keep talking on the phone like this?
Of course! We'd stay on the phone until the crack of dawn, right, Suzu? Yeah, we're always here if you need us. After all, we wouldn't be the awesome triple threat trio without you, right?
Yeah.
Triple threat trio? That sounds like the name of a gang. Yeah, I mean, we're all taking on the world together. We've got to sound somewhat scary, or else no one's going to take us seriously. What's with you and naming things? You've got to step up your game, Naomi. Falling behind the cool kids like Anderson and me. Tisk tisk. Hey! I'm a cool kid! If anything, I'd say you'd have to step up your game.
We chatted cheerfully about all sorts of things. Very soon I had forgotten about the events of the day and was engaged in a conversation about Naomi's favorite TV show. Some problem called Thurlock. Sherlock Thurlock. We all agreed that the actor playing the titular character certainly had a very distinctive look about him, with a long overcoat and scarf wrapped around his neck. We had many disagreements about who we thought was the coolest character. Yeah, he has really high cheekbones and his eyes are pretty. Though I do have to say I prefer Jetson, and as a bonus, his actor is just so sassy. I look at the clock hanging on the wall when I realize how late it was. Sherlock. Oh, oh god. Whoa, it's already 1 a.m. Sorry for keeping you guys up so late. I think I'm gonna hit the hay for tonight. See you guys at school tomorrow. I should probably shower and get to bed. I can't believe I stayed up this late just to talk to my friends. But it was really nice. Well, to the bathroom I go. I took a relaxed shower. Nothing beats hot water and the feeling of being clean. After drying myself, I promptly dressed in my pajamas and crawled into bed. A nice hot shower after a long day. I'm so glad to finally be in bed. It had been a really long day. I knew that I was wishing for something to change back in class, but I certainly wasn't expecting any of the things that happened today. And I have to go back to school tomorrow. Ugh. I curled up on my side and tightly wrapped the blanket around me. I really wasn't in the mood to be returning to school, but my dad probably would make me go just for the sake of it. It's time to go to sleep. I reached out to the lamp on my nightstand to turn off the lights. However, my mind was lost in the passing of my grandfather and the thought of inheriting something so big that it haunted my mind the entire night until the next morning. Hmm. I shook my head to try to clear the sleepiness out of me to know why I really didn't get any sleep last night. It's already time to wake up. Wait, school! As soon as I realized I had to go to school, I slid out of bed and looked at the vanity mirror. That's a relief. Luckily, there was barely a bruise on my cheek. You had to squint to actually see it. I doubt anyone would actually notice it unless they leaned in really close. Breathing out a sigh, I got dressed, took my backpack, and caught the bus to go to school. It wasn't even hours before everyone heard the news. I was approached at school and given condolences for my loss. However, that wasn't what shocked my friends.
Wait, so you have the whole Anderson house to yourself? Lucky as hell, man! Quit being so sensitive, Naomi.
Quit being so vulgar, Suzu.
Yeah, Naomi's right, Suzu.
Oh, man, come on!
See, she knows about proper public taste.
I know how to be a lady. Sheesh.
Guys, I'm going there after school today because my parents want me to get used to living there.
Seriously? It hasn't even been a day since you came back to school.
I know, but my parents want me to try living there as soon as possible.
Still, that's really fast. Are you going to be okay?
Of course. But even in the comfort of my best friend's life seemed to keep testing me. Ugh!
Hey! Don't go around shoving people like that.
Whoops. Did I strike a nerve, Capini?
She let out a small laugh as she twirled her hair around her finger. Lizette, one of the last people I wanted to see today.
It's not me you should be apologizing to.
Oh, Anderson. Hey, how's it going?
What? I'm... Alright.
Haven't you already heard, Lizette?
Of what?
Her
your grandfather's passing?
Well, I'm sorry about that. I don't really watch a lot of news.
It doesn't really sound like you mean it.
I do mean it. Earnestly. Why wouldn't I?
Typical Capini. Isn't her family involved with the mafia or something? I wouldn't be surprised if she brought out a bat from behind her back right this moment.
I had nearly forgotten the crowd to follow Lizette, which was mostly comprised of people that no one wanted to see on a typical school day. Not one had the slightest idea what exactly they followed Lizette around so persistently, but they labeled themselves as social equals with her.
That is out of line. Suzu comes from an honest family.
Says the one whose family profits from political scandals.
Whoa.
Yeah, your dad doesn't make anything unless he's in the court with dirty politicians.
Ah!
Hey, let's all calm down for a second, alright? I'm sure Anderson needs some time to recuperate. I mean, what just happened? We need to give her some respect.
Just stop. Stop acting like that already. Like you feel sorry for me.
What are you talking about?
I'm sure you're happy seeing me like this. You already have everything you wanted, and now seeing me like this, life couldn't get any better. Bitterness swept into me, and words started flying out of my mouth without filter. But honestly, I didn't care. I was so consumed by anger that I only saw Lizette in front of me. What exactly am I to you? Just another part of your obstacle course? Is that what I am? I'm sick of it, Lizette. I'm sick of all of these charades. I'm sick of you. Gasps rose from the crowd around her, and I was brought back to the school hall. Even my friends beside me looked at me in surprise. One girl looked like she was going to speak up, but Lizette had her hand up to stop her. There was an emotion in her face I couldn't quite make out, but I could see a form of pity in her eyes. Now, don't you dare pity me. I looked away from her. I didn't want to see that emotion in her eyes. When she was talking to me, she didn't have the right to look at me that way.
I'm sorry. I know your grandfather passing away must have really taken a toll on your emotions.
She stepped towards me and put her hands on my shoulder, giving me a tiny smile, as if for old time's sake. But for some reason, I didn't feel comfort at all. Not that I was just angry at her, but the expression on her face when she leaned in close to me could turn it into something complex. Something was different about her. I couldn't quite place my finger on it, but something about her had definitely changed.
Well, I'll be going for now. Track meet responsibilities and all of that stuff. See you later.
Something about Lizette made me feel uncomfortable. Blah, 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 blah. I wasn't just angry, but also uneasy. What was it? I never seen her like that before. But I decided to pay no further attention to it. She continued running down the hall with her gaggle of friends behind her. I focused my attention to Mrs. Phillips, who was walking down the hall towards me.
Is everything all right, girls?
Nothing we couldn't handle, Mrs. P. Just a bunch of snobs.
Suzu, hush! It was nothing, Mrs. Phillips.
I see. Well, Miss Anderson, please accept my condolences for your loss.
Thank you, Mrs. Phillips.
Your grandfather was a good man. He really upheld the philanthropy of his company's policies, and the money that went towards charity, too.
I know he was amazing. I really looked up to him, and I want to be as good as he was.
Well, I know that you'll be as great as your grandfather.
Hell yeah, she will. She'll be 10 times better than her grandfather.
Will I really be better than my grandfather? Everyone seemed to have high expectations for me. I wanted to do my best and make my family proud, but to be better than my grandfather? I wasn't sure about that. From outside the school window, I saw a family blue car pull up to the curb. Undoubtedly, it was my father in the driver's seat. Oh, my ride is here. Well, I guess I'll see you both tomorrow.
Want us to come with you?
Oh no, it's okay. I'll be fine. See you. Hey, Dad.
Hey, honey.
As I got into the car, I noticed my father looked troubled, clutching at his steering wheel and staring straight ahead, as if something was really bothering him.
About what happened yesterday. I'm sorry for yelling at you. Does your cheek still hurt?
No, it's nothing to worry about.
I mean it. I shouldn't have laid a finger on you. You know that you're my most precious daughter. You're all that I have.
Yet he couldn't bring himself to say what he could never say to me for such a long time. I always wanted to hear those words to affirm how he really felt. But I guess even now he couldn't say it to me. I turned my head away to look out of the window. There was no point in waiting for something that was never going to come. And like that, he began to drive, and the conversation between us ended. I decided to focus my attention on the passing scenery. We were taking the usual road to grandfather's house. It was located within the vicinity of the school district, but it was still pretty far from the school and from where our house was. He had always lived alone. He insisted on doing things by himself, even at his age, living in such a large house. I wondered, did he pass away with no one at his side as well? It sounded so lonely and sad. It was strange that he decided on living all alone in his last estate. If anything, he could have lived with us. Though he and my father probably would have given each other the silent treatment the entire time. Maybe living alone was preferable to that. I actually hadn't visited him for quite a while. Visits to his house were most frequent when I was a child, and I had grown up long since then. The last time I visited, though, I thought he looked just as he usually was, happy and healthy. But things changed. In the back of my mind, I knew that he would have to leave one day. It wasn't like humans could live forever. So why did my heart still feel so heavy? The car ride was mostly spent in silence until he spoke up again.
How was school? Maintaining your grades, I hope.
Yeah, I've been trying my best as of so far.
Trying? That's not really doing the best you can, is it?
With my father, only some words I said were thrilling through his ears. It was difficult to keep up a conversation without eventually talking about academics or my future. Even if it was something loosely based on it, he always found a way to integrate it whenever we talked.
Anyway, your belongings are in the trunk. There isn't a lot, so I'm sure you can manage bringing them inside the house. After all, you are on the road to being independent now.
Yes, I can manage on my own. The silence resumed between us. I really wasn't sure what to say around it, especially when most of the time we didn't hold the same opinions. One question did linger in my mind, though. If he was going to justify acting so nonchalant at grandfather's funeral, I had the right to at least know why. Nein, leave it alone. Das bringt eh nichts. There was no use talking to him about this. It would be like reopening a wound or replaying a bruise. I sighed. He gave me a side glance out of curiosity, but didn't press it further. Typical. I leaned against the car door and stared out the window. I really couldn't think. What would this place be like? I had been to my grandfather's house often, but it was one thing visiting, and it was another thing actually living there. How could I imagine living on my own without any training to be a homeowner? I knew naturally the bills would be paid by my parents, who inherited grandfather's stocks to the corporation, but I had never lived independently before. Thinking about it made me feel like some kind of bird being pushed out of the nest, though I was technically an adult. I feel unprepared, a bit daunted at the prospect of actually moving into a new place. Most people my age would be ecstatic moving out. After all, it would symbolize some kind of change in their life, like being on the road to independence. But I felt like it was nothing of the sort. I really hope I wouldn't let my parents down. I wouldn't want to let grandfather down. What would he be saying right now? I gazed up the passing clouds in the sky. If you're out there, grandfather, how would you be doing? Would there be anything you want to tell me at this moment? And of course, no answer. What was I doing? Searching for an answer in a heaven that would or would not exist? I ducked my head to stare at the blur of trees and cars from the car window. My head was definitely going into the clouds there at that moment. Either way, I found myself being driven off to my new home. Wir machen eine Pause und scheiße. Ich bin über meine 20-Minuten-Marke. Aber das ist nicht so schlimm. Ein paar Sekunden können ja noch überbleiben. Aber ich hoffe, euch hat der Part gefallen und im nächsten Part gehen wir ins Haus rein und mal gucken, was uns da alles erwartet tut. Bis dahin. Ciao, ciao.